So now that we see our cost is calculated correctly, let's move on to the total retail value. So once again, we will take the total units we are purchasing times the actual unit retail value for the individual items. And our total retail value for the asymmetrical top is $3,000. Use our fill formatting once again, and we can see the twist front top is $4,400 and the retail value for the lace peplum top is $3,150. Figure out our markup, so we'll take our total retail minus our cost, and we get $1,695 markup for the asymmetrical top. Finding our markup percent now, we take our total markup dollars divided by our total retail dollars, and we get a 56.5% markup. Drag this formula down, and you can see now we have varying markups. Even though these items all have the same unit cost, because they all have a different retail price, the markup percent will vary because we look at the markup percent with the retail minus the cost. So if the retail prices are all different prices or higher than others, but they all have the same cost, we will see a different markup percent. So now let's go ahead and add up the total quantity of units. Add up our total cost. Add up our total retail dollars, and we can add up our total markup dollars as well. So we will figure out the total markup by taking our total markup dollars, divide it into our total retail dollars, and overall, for these three styles, these three woven styles, we have a 61.9% markup about on average. So now let's figure out the unit cost. We know it's $21.75, of course, since all three of these styles have a unit cost of $21.75. We know that's going to be the unit cost for the total because nothing has changed for the cost. However, for calculation purposes, let's go ahead and input that unit cost one more time. So we take our total cost divided by our total units that we are purchasing, and our total unit cost matches our $21.75. Let's do the same with our total unit retail value. So we'll take the total retail divided by the total units purchasing, and each item is about $57.03 total retail value. I'm going to go ahead and format this all at the end, so let's jump on to the next problem. Now over here, we're going to be calculating the markup percent on an order with a varying cost but have the same retail prices. So all of these items have a different cost, but they will all retail for the same price. So once again, let's figure out our cost. Take our unit quantity times the actual unit cost to get the total cost of $1,120 for the knit tank. Drag our formula down, hit F2 to check our formula. We will go ahead and do the same thing now for the total retail value. We will take our quantity, multiply it by the unit retail dollars of $40, and we can see these items retail for $2,800. Drag our formula down, and we will hit F2 to check our formulas, and we are good. Now we need to calculate our markup dollars, so we take our total retail dollars minus our total cost, and we get a markup of $1,680 for the knit tank. Drag our formula down to calculate the remaining styles. Let's now look at our markup percent. Take our markup dollars, divide it into our total retail dollars, and we get a 60% markup on the knit tank. We will go ahead and drag this formula down once again, and we can see the long sleeve tee has a 56.5% markup, and the relaxed fit t-shirt has a 58% markup. Now let's figure out our totals. Calculate our total markup percent, markup dollars, into our total retail value. And for all of these knit styles, the total markup percent is about 58.1%. So now let's figure out our unit cost for all three of these styles within our knits. We take our total cost divided by the total quantity of units we are purchasing. So each item costs about $16.74. Once again, we will do the same for the total unit retail value. So we will take the total retail divided by the actual number of units we are purchasing. So these items retail for about $40. So once again, we already knew that. However, for calculation purposes, for practicing, let's make sure we go ahead and input that formula once again. So now let's go ahead and format our page after we have calculated everything. I always like to make my data centered. I like to bold the totals. Bold our headers. And bold our styles. Next, I also like to highlight my totals. So we can go ahead and do this light gold accent color as well. And for practicing, let's go ahead and put some borders around these. If you select multiple areas on your sheet, you can actually just place a border all around the highlighted areas, which I did. Okay, so there we go for the first part of Excel exercise number 3. And before we save this, let's go ahead and rename our sheet. So we right click on the bottom of the sheet, select rename, and we will change this to exercise 3 part 1. Now let's also change the color on the sheet. So we will right click, select tab color, and let's change this to a blue. So as you can see, if I jump back to my instruction sheet, that tab that we just changed for exercise 3 part 1 is now blue. We will save this and now move on to exercise 3 part 2.